This story is about a patient and his nurse, and the story is described by the nurse. My patient was a gentleman in his 80s who suffered from cancer. In the first meeting, the patient was given his record, and from it, I could see that he was a revert to the religion of Islam. Therefore, he was a Muslim. I knew from this that I would need to take into account some modes of treatment that may go against his faith, and therefore try to adopt my care to meet his needs. I bought some halal meat and cooked those meats for my patient and ensured that there was no alcohol or anything that is not allowed in Islam. My patient was in a very advanced stage of his condition. So many of my colleagues could not understand why I was going through so much effort for him. But I understood that a person who commits to a faith deserves that commitment to be respected, even if they are not in a position to understand. Anyways, after a few months with my patient, I began to notice some patterns of movements. At first, I thought it was some copied motions he has seen someone doing. But I saw him repeat the movement at particular times: morning, afternoon, evening, night, etc. The movements were to raise his hands, bow, and then put his head to the ground. I could not understand it. He was also repeating some sentences in another language. I could not figure out what language it was, as his speech was stuttered, but I know same verses were being repeated multiple times in a day. Also, there was something strange. He didn't allow me to feed him with my left hand. Somehow I knew this is linked to his religion, but I didn't know how. One of my colleagues told me about a place where the debates and discussions are going on various religions. And as I did not know any Muslims except for my patient, I went to that place and I entered into the room that was dedicated for the religion of Islam. There I asked some questions regarding the repeated movements, and I was told these were the actions of prayer. I did not really believe it until someone posted a link of the Islamic prayer on YouTube, and I was shocked. A man who has lost all memory of his children, of his occupation and family, and could barely eat and drink, was able to remember not only the actions of prayer, but verses that were in another language. This was nothing short of incredible, and I knew this man was devout in his faith, which made me want to learn more in order to care for him the best I could. I came to that room for the religion of Islam often, and I was given a link to read the translation of glorious Quran and to listen it. The chapter of the bee gave me chills, and I repeated it several times a day. I saved the recording of the Quran on my iPod and gave it to my patient to listen to, and he was smiling and crying. And in reading the translation, I could see why. I applied what I gained from the room that was dedicated for the religion of Islam to care for my patient, but gradually found myself coming to the room find answers for myself. I never really took the time to look at my life. I never knew my father, my mother, as they died when I was only 5 years old. Me and my brother were raised by our grandparents, who died 5 years ago. So now it's just two of us. But despite all the loss, I always thought I was happy and content. It was only after spending time with my patient that felt like I was missing something. I was missing that sense of peace and tranquility my patient, even though suffering, felt. I wanted that sense of belonging and a part of something that he felt even with no one around him. I was given a list of mosques in my area by a lady from that room of Religion of Islam, and I went to visit some of those mosques. I watched the prayer and could not hold back my tears. I felt drawn to the mosque every day, and the Imam and his wife would give me books and tapes and welcome any questions I had. Every question I asked at the mosque and in the room that was dedicated for the Religion of Islam was answered with such clarity and depth that could do nothing but accept them. I have never practiced a faith but always believed that there was a God. I just did not know how to worship Him. One evening, I came on the room that was dedicated for the Religion of Islam, and one of the speakers on the mic addressed me. He asked me if I have any question. I said no. He asked if I was happy with the answers I was given. I said yes. He then asked what was stopping me accepting Islam. I could not answer. I went to the mosque to watch the dawn prayer. The Imam asked me the same question. I could not answer. I then went to tend to my patient. I was feeding him, and as I looked in his eyes, I just realized he was brought to me for a reason, and the only thing stopping me from accepting was fear. Not fear in the sense of something bad, but fear of accepting something good and thinking that I was not worthy like this man. That afternoon, I went to the mosque and asked the Imam if I could say my declaration of faith. The Shahada, there is no God except Allah. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is Allah's messenger. He helped me through it and guided me through what I would need to do next. I cannot explain the feeling I felt when I said it. It was like someone woke me up from sleep and sees everything more clearly. The feeling was overwhelming joy, clarity, and most of all, peace. The first person I told was not my brother, but my patient. I went to him, and before I even opened my mouth, he cried and smiled at me. I broke down in front of him. I owed him so much. I came home, locked on to the room that was dedicated for the Religion of Islam, and repeated the Shahada inside the room. They all helped me so much, and even though I had never seen a single one of them, they felt closer to me than my brother. I did eventually call my brother to tell him, and although he wasn't happy, he supported me and said he would be there. I could not ask for any more. After my first week as a Muslim, my patient passed away in his sleep while I was caring for him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Truly to Allah we belong, and truly to Him we shall return. He died a peaceful death, and I was the only person with him. He was like the father I have never had, and he was my doorway to Islam. See, in this story, the patient, even though he was very old, and he was suffering from disease and he could not remember anything, but he was able to pray. He did not forget Salah, the prayer, the gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a great lesson for us when we are good in health, how much importance we should give to Salah. May Allah give us the tawfiq to give proper importance to Salah and pray 5 times in time. That's the moral of the story. See you next time.